Welcome to the Kortex Media Podcast, Marketing Accelerator, your compass for navigating the dynamic world of marketing and business growth. I'm Korson Schmidt, founder of Kortex Media. Our mission is to equip marketing agencies with the custom growth solutions they need to unlock massive revenue increases and scale their business. Hey guys, welcome back to the Kortex Media Podcast. Today we're joined by Jason Walker, the founder of JWalker Marketing, an agency renowned for strategic expertise in brand building and marketing. With a background spanning top agencies in LA and Austin, Jason's team excels at cutting through the noise by focusing on core strategy and leveraging AI to help clients, from real estate to former NFL players, define their audience and achieve remarkable growth. Get ready to deep dive into the art of strategic marketing with a true industry leader, Jason. Thanks for joining me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Korson. Thank you for the introduction, and excited to be here and just have a good combo and collaboration on marketing and where we stand in the marketplace.
Yeah. Sounds good, man. We've been trying to get this going for quite some time, and I'm glad we got this conversation. And I feel like it's a good time right now. We're past that kind of beginning of the year rush where everyone's kind of trying to find clarity in what their goals are for the new year. So we're starting to get to that point where we're getting to the end of Q1. Things are starting to level out, and we're starting to get a little bit more clarity into the coming year, which is an exciting time, but also a scary time because things can be positive and things can be really negative depending on how that beginning of the year went. But we can dive into that a little bit later, Jason.
Yeah.
Do you mind just kind of kicking things off and letting us know who is JWalker? What do you guys do? What are your core services today?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, JWalker Marketing, we're like you said, a marketing agency, a couple locations in Los Angeles as well as Austin, Texas, which is where I reside. And one of our core services is really the strategic initiatives, understanding who that audience is for our customers, right? I think a lot of our customers are unsure. One thing I love to ask our clients is, who's your target audience, right? And oftentimes it's, the question or the response is everybody, right? And so one thing that I kind of implore them to think about is hey, if you're marketing to everybody, you're essentially marketing to no one, right? And so the understanding is who is our core target audience, our ideal primary audience, and then secondary and tertiary and so forth. But we want to understand what that core audience is so we can really craft a communication and messaging to them to where when they see it, there's instant differentiation and there's immediate adoption, right? And so the strategy, the really highest level layer when it comes to marketing, it's the strategic understanding of who the audience is, what is our differentiation, what are the core things that are unique to us, right, in relation to our competitors, and then what are the strategies in terms of the go-to-market strategy, right? Which is obvious. It's the messaging. It is the technology stack, right? All of those things come into play. Well, all those things become secondary when it comes to the strategy, right? Who's our audience? What is our product? Who are we trying to serve? And then also, most importantly, what's our goal, right? What's our 5-year, 10-year goal, right? A lot of our clients, they come to us and they're like, I don't quite know what we want to do, right? We want to open a retail location, or we want to sell our business in 10 years, or we want to be the move from number 3 to number 2 in this particular category over the next 6 months. And so it happens a lot. And in order to get to that goal, right, they're the daily and weekly and monthly activities that in order to get to that goal. And so we spend a lot of time in the strategy and the business layer, consulting layer, to really be able to identify what are the strengths, weaknesses. Are they set up financially? Do we need to go get private equity? Do we need to pitch to locally to someone that can be an angel investor, right? All of these things are considerations, and so that really stays in that strategic layer. And so that's where our core service is. And then everything else kind of flows from that. Like I said, a website build, SEO, AEO, GEO, paid search, content creation. So all of those services, because we are a full service agency. And so, like I said, the core service is that strategy, and probably the most important for any business.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the most important is like it's the foundation. If you for a house, for example, if you pour a weak foundation to your house and try to build something on top of it, it's gonna collapse pretty quickly, right? So if you build that foundation solid right from the beginning on like who are we targeting, what is our messaging, why are we targeting, what is the problem we're solving, you're gonna have a lot more clarity stepping into those next steps through the company, and it's gonna make your marketing a lot easier. Whatever for whatever channel you pick, your marketing is going to be so much easier. So, for example, like Jason, if you were to build a website and you had no brand strategy, you had no problem to solve, you didn't have those things in front of you, it would take you days to build a website because you're like, I don't freaking know what to say. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah.
I feel like it's such a foundational piece that gets missed a lot of the time. So I really
There's
like that positioning there.
and the interesting thing about that is there's multiple objectives and multiple perspectives that come to the
Yeah.
table, and especially when you have maybe multiple stakeholders within an organization. And so a part of that strategy is getting everybody on the same page, speaking the same language, understanding what is our core differentiators, right, and establishing that communication internally before we could even build something like a website that is going to speak externally to attract that target audience. And so that's
Yeah.
a common problem, which creates obviously we're trying to create alignment with all stakeholders in order to be successful in the marketplace.
For sure, for sure. Jason, do you mind taking us through just a little case study on how you guys have actually helped one of your clients achieve their goals through this process?
Yeah, yeah. So one of our exciting, fun successes, which I'll actually give you the end and start from the end and then come backward. So one of our clients, it's a cookie company. They were selected as Oprah's favorite things, and they came to me about 4 or 5 years ago with just a product, right? There was no thought process. They sold cookies locally to random people that wanted to buy them. And the founder had an amazing idea, right? The founder was like, "Hey, this is a luxury cookie. I want it to be in hospitality, and I want as many people to get this cookie as possible." Right. And so the one thing that they were missing was, okay, how do we communicate about this cookie? Right. How do we communicate that this cookie, which is, $7 to $10, it's a huge cookie versus a cookie you might get at Subway or something like that, or at a local grocery store, right? What's the difference? Right. So there's a perceived value that we wanted to build around this cookie, and not just the cookie, but the overall story. And so the client had a bout with cancer and almost lost her life years prior to this. And so this whole journey of kind of building this brand became a story about resilience. It became a story about empathy. It became a story about battling something that was, a lot of people in the United States and around the world deal with. Right. And so we wanted to weave that story in, the challenges and emotional triggers that really had her really struggle through that process, and then coming out on the other end to really start this company. Right. And so that entire story is something that was very captivating for the hospitality industry. It was very captivating at a regional and local level, which spurred us to be able to help her to open her first retail location about a year later from initial contact with us. And so during that first year, we built out the brand for her, the communication, understanding who the audience was from from a hospitality approach, but then also from a consumer standpoint. And so it became a product that we built all the aspects in terms of the website, the e-com website. We built the packaging, which became award winning, which actually became,
Wow.
generated tons of business from the designs and the look and feel. So expanding that brand strategy to her website, to, like I said, the packaging, the touch points ultimately in the retail location. We built a pitch deck, which she was able to secure some funding for some initial groundbreaking to build that retail location. And then ultimately, like I said, 2 years later, presenting to Oprah and her team, and them selecting this as Oprah's favorite things. And so, like I said, someone approaching us with just a product, a great idea, amazing founder, has a vision, but not quite sure what the roadmap looks like. Working with her from a strategic standpoint allowed her to end up even in national hotels, so the Marriotts of the world, and and local luxury hotels throughout the Atlanta, Georgia area, and throughout all of the East Coast, and then even international. And so they're super excited about the visibility that created for the client, but also for us too, because that was something that we've been able to share with you and your listeners as far as the roadmap to having a success like that. Right now, every client may not want to be certain things, but they may, like I said, they may want to sell their business in 10 years, right? And be able to, or, sell their business, to someone else for exponentially more than they actually built the business for. Or they may want to, like I said, open up a retail location, or, they may just want to change a category altogether, right? With a brand new product. And so all of these sort of considerations are what we gave to our client, our cookie client, which, like I said, is now established as that forever as Oprah's favorite things, which has that badge of credibility based on the strategies that we kind of implemented for them from day one.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a really unreal story, and it all starts with a vision, right? I feel like everyone, even us in our lives, we start with a vision of what we want to do and where we want to go after high school. And a lot of us don't take the steps to get there because we're a little bit scared, and some of us just need a little bit help. So for them to be able to find you, Jason, you be able to help them build that foundation of their brand, of their business, and continue building that with them along their journey is such an amazing path. And I bet you it just feels so good for you to see where this brand came from into being Oprah's favorite thing. Like that's such an amazing client journey and journey for yourself as well.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to help visionary founders, especially those that just have a desire, they're passionate about what they do. For example, that cookie company, they were passionate about making these amazing cookies. They're passionate about getting it out. They were passionate about their story and other people hearing her story so they can benefit from it and be able to overcome whatever challenges that they're dealing with, especially when it comes to like a rare cancer that she dealt with.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. So I want to move the conversation more into kind of our agency, our marketing, our creative world today. It's kind of getting disrupted. There's a lot of disruptors out there right now affecting our creative world, right? Whether it be AI, whether it be the saturation in the market, whether it be the trust gap in the market as well. But what are you seeing really playing a toll on JWalker and holding you back from achieving those things that you want to achieve in the coming years?
Yeah, I think we have a good steady, healthy flow of business coming in. However, what we see and some limiting factors for clients are their dependency on, hey, well, maybe if I try to do this myself through some of the technologies that are available, right? Because AI, there's so many different AI companies, and eventually we can't have that many AI companies, right? And so there will be some people that rise up and probably many that will fall by the wayside. But for the most part, I see clientele trying to maybe potentially cut corners or try to see if they can effectively be successful by integrating technology or AI themselves. And so that's where the consulting happens. And I think AI is a huge, important tool in our business. However, leveraging it in the right way at the right times, and also being able to understand the strategy first. How do we leverage AI? How do we integrate AI as opposed to AI being the end all be all? So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing, especially even in this first quarter, because it's wherever you go, wherever you turn in headlines in the media, when you do a Google search, you're going to find tools that you can apply or integrate somehow, but leveraging those, understanding which is the right tool at the right time, cost perspective as well too, What is the cost to integrate that? What are we replacing? How are we making this interact with our clientele? Because ultimately our clients or our clients' consumers or their customers are the ones that are going to have to interact, right? And so we want to make sure that it's the best case scenario for converting that customer, bringing that customer in, and retaining the lifetime value, right? Keeping that client over time, right? And so we don't want anything impersonal. We don't want anything that's quick and cheap and ineffective, but we want something that is strategic, smart, intelligent, and still engages with their customers. So that's from a technical perspective, I see that that's a huge misalignment at times with clients. And so education, and for us as an agency to be very aware of what are the options, what's available, what are some other solutions. And so it's a very consultative approach from the strategic standpoint to really evaluate what works, what may not work, and what's the best case scenario for the business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important. Like you said, there's so many tools out there, and it's almost overwhelming. Like you see a new thing dropped every week. It's like, man, how do I stay on top of this? But at the end of the day, there is those top jugglers of people that are the companies that are really kind of moving forward in the space at the most, and just try to keep your eye on that. And I feel like companies get overwhelmed because there's so much noise around it. So to have someone be able to come step in and help guide them in the right decision and the right direction for their business is so important, because they could try something and they might not be the expert and it will take them longer to implement it. And then by that time, it's like, oh, there's a new tool that's faster. Then they're like, oh my gosh, now I have to go do the next one, right? So for anyone out there that is actually looking to implement some tools, just go to the expert first, and it'll save you. It might cost a little bit then, but the investment later on in the journey is so well worth it. But so you mentioned that strategy is kind of your bread and butter within the marketing space. And
yes,
I'm a huge believer in it being so important as well. And I think brand in general is going to be so important moving into this AI revolution, this AI stage of business, because people aren't going to resonate with AI. People resonate with people. People resonate with stories, right from that foundation. So where do you see brand playing in the future of the creative space and business in general?
I think the time tested understanding of creating a brand, creating a story, creating things that people resonate with. I mean, this is from the beginning of time. We evolved by storytelling and communicating, passing it down to the next generation, and really establishing not just a logo, right? Not just a product, but really the cohesive story behind this brand, right? And so there's a personality when it comes to a brand. There is a way that it functions and moves and interacts with the rest of the world. And so that's really why I think it's going to be time tested, no matter what technology comes into play. Disseminating that message of your brand will change slightly, which it has over time, right? It used to be print media, right? Newspapers and direct mail, which all still have a purpose today, but they used to be the core, or even radio, right? They used to be the core mass communication. So it will evolve, but that brand still needs to understand that these are channels that I need to communicate through, and also understand who's listening on the other end, right? So there's the psychology of understanding who those customers are, and then how do we craft a message to reach them to where they see it, they hear it, they listen, and then they are immediately involved with your brand, or immediately connected, right? Emotionally, most likely. Emotionally is what we like, right? We want them to respond off of emotion, want them to respond based on a need they have, or even a mass frustration, right? Typically, what works best is if there's a mass frustration in the community or within an industry, and then we're able to fill that with a replacement vision for those people that have that mass frustration. Right. That's when adoption happens immediately. And so they'll associate it with that brand, right? This brand has presented a solution to this mass frustration, to this industry. Take, for example, real estate. right? There's a mass frustration that potentially, I think a lot of people believe agents may not be worth their their value, right? And so having someone that can come in and disrupt that industry, not just with technology, not just with the brand name, but with a clear solution that will upend that entire industry. And so the industry is still waiting for that. And I believe somebody will come and have a replacement vision for the entire real estate industry, especially here in the United States, and have a global and even a new standard for how real estate is bought and sold. So that is kind of the understanding of, hey, all of these channels are out there, technology is out there, but that brand is the thing that's going to propel businesses for the next 50, 60, 100 years or so. So yeah, that's how I feel the importance of having your brand is and telling your brand story.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And one new thing that kind of came to me was what you said there about real estate. Sorry about the background noise, but I want to hear a little bit more on your thoughts about where you think the real estate industry is going. I know that's kind of one place that you guys really focus on as your ideal customer.
Yeah.
But do you mind expanding into that a little bit more? Usually I keep it on marketing agencies, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, well, we do have a client that's been around for 20 years that has been a premier level coaching company for then they evolved into a brand a brokerage company, and then they evolved to more of an IP company, and so we're actually working on presenting and bringing something to the marketplace that we believe will revolutionize the industry. However, it's not something I can go deep on right now
Okay.
here, but just know that that's something that we're actively working on to change, not specifically for real estate agents, but for the consumer, the
Mm,
how consumers are able to get the expert strategy and understanding on how to sell and buy their homes at at a to where they're not just being dependent on a real estate agent, right? And so there's something that's actively in the works. It's a 20-year case history of it, but it's also we're planning to bring that to the marketplace. And so can't give a lot of details on that, but I can see how when someone sees that that they will instantly recognize that there is a difference, and traditional real estate versus the new way of going about it will be drastically differentiated. So
yeah, I'm excited.
maybe a year from now I can come back on here and really speak about that in a lot more
Yeah,
detail.
we'll run it back. We'll run it
Yeah.
back once we get this new platform. That's actually really cool. I appreciate you sharing that. Especially because I mean the real estate world has been the same for so long, and to see a change like that could be a huge change. So I'm gonna hold it there, and we'll see what comes of it next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Jason, I want to dive, like I said, further into the agency world and how we're going about this today. Because I mean, right now for brands to grow, it's harder than ever. There's more noise than ever on every single channel. It's hard to really be the differentiator with everything in the agency space. People can start agencies very easy and say they're a pro in no time, even though they have no idea what they're doing. It makes it
Yeah.
tough for real agencies to stand out and get real results for our customers, because that trust gap has also been at an all-time low for us and our clients. For agencies that are doing amazing work, that are struggling to grow to the potential they want to be, what is some of the stuff you're doing within JWalker to help you guys get along that journey and help you guys along that growth path so other agencies can maybe follow in your steps?
Yeah, and I teach this to all of our clients that when you retain a customer, when you get a customer, it's to be able to retain their business, right, or to generate referrals, to really have that client for the next 10, 15 years, right? There's an art and a science to that, right? And so that's that thought process in nurturing that relationship, providing that added value. That's something that we take into our own relationships with our clients, right? So when we get a client, it's all about how do we nurture them, how do we get them from point A to point B to point C. But then also, once they see that value and they see the experience that they have, they see their business grow, sharing that with another client, right, and bringing them in, right. So the model of that organic growth is so important, right, to build the customer database or build the customers that you do have, grow that database, being able to generate more clientele from the referrals that you get. That's one facet, and that's the organic growth, right? That's the more natural. It becomes a lot more credible when you're hearing about an agency from someone that's had success with that agency. So that's a huge part. And then you have the lead generation aspect, right? You have multiple channels, right, through social media, through paid search, through other third-party tools to be able to generate leads, right? But the ultimate goal is to get those leads, transform them into champions. They know, like, and trust us. They become a champion. They're referring us, 2-3 deals a year, right? And ongoing, right? Year after year, they're just perpetual referral engine for us, right? So that's where we see the bulk of our business are the clients that we worked with, and then them extending that relationship to us, to other clients, right? And having warm introductions. So I can't speak more about the importance of cultivating and nurturing your existing clients. Obviously doing a professional, great job, but it's that added value, right? It's the understanding that beyond just the business, right? There's a relationship, right? You're building a relationship with them. You're understanding their families or business, their goals, right? Their personal, professional goals, right? And so that is a huge part of marketing, right? And that's a part of our brand story, right? It's creating the relationships with our clients. It's it's understanding their business. It's being indispensable, basically. That is the key word that I use for me and my agency, where we want to be indispensable. So everything you need, right? If you are, like, for example, you're opening up a retail location, they're asking you about, oh, what should we do as far as the design and the look and the feel and the aesthetic, right? That sort of indispensability, right? It's, hey, we have some packaging, how should we extend the brand guidelines to this packaging, right? Or we have a conversation with the hotel, what should we be and what should we be bringing in and presenting to this hotel to make sure that we get our cookies in this hotel, right? So
Yeah.
every single time they're considering something about their business, they're looking back to you. So being indispensable at every single stage of their business, and even personally, right? Hey, we're having a summer trip. What do you think? Where should we go? Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
that sort of relationship is what we're trying to create.
I love that. And just bounce off it. If you don't know, you'll be the one to figure it out and get them in the right direction, because you have that partnership and that bond, that relationship with the client, right? I think it's so important. We see all of these massive agencies with so many clients, and they have all these tiers of different projects they do. But if you really think about it, the big agencies aren't going to be focusing on the people that are spending the low retainer $2,000-$3,000 a month, because they're focused on the people that are paying them $50,000 a month, right? And they just don't build that relationship. Where if you have a model where you bring on very high quality premium individuals and partners who want to grow, they're all looked at you like best friends, and you're going to treat them like your best friend because you want to see them succeed just as much as you want to see your own business succeed, right? I think it's a model that we don't see enough of, is this very premium, higher retainer, lower client base, and very relationship driven, like you just explained there. And I think it's so powerful in the space, especially something like brand strategy and brand identity, because it's such a full, from start to finish. It can be such a long process, and why not stick with them along that process while you have that trust built and be there end to end for everything, like you said.
Exactly. And it's not we have nothing that's cookie cutter, right? And so we're not going to put you in a package, right? You want package A, B or C, what good, better, best? No, it's not. It's consultative. It's leveraging the 25 years that I have in working at advertising agencies in Los Angeles, and you're in Austin, Texas. It's leveraging my leading accounts, multi-million-dollar accounts for AT&T and the cable companies nationwide. It is working with premium brands in the QSR space. It's doing that, taking that level of precision and thought process and strategy from the agency world and bringing that to a premium, more one-to-one. It's not a lot. We don't have a lot of layers of, I'm not just going to pass you off to one of our account executives, right? It's going to be a strategic conversation, strategic relationship to where we're seeing your business grow, right? And we're ultimately we're both growing together, right? And so that's what's really unique about us, and really what I'm proud of all of our clients, that they get a partner, right, that's embedded into their business, and like I said, indispensable partner for them.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Looking ahead for JWalker, Jason, what are your goals? Where do you want to see your company in the coming future, and how does that look for you guys?
Yeah. I think in the upcoming future, I really want us to shift our existing clients, but also the new clients that we have, really shifting into the tech realm, right? We are here in Austin, Texas. Right, we're a tech hub here, and so the combination of the brand strategy and the building the communication around that and the psychology around that, we really want to move more into the tech space. How do we integrate more technology in the workflows? How do we integrate more technology at the point of sale for clients? Or for their customers? How do we integrate technology to fast-paced product development for our clients, right? How do we integrate technology to close the customer loops, right? How do we integrate technology in order to automate a lot of the the nurturing campaigns, right? And so I want us to continue to flow and move and build our technology chops in terms of our understanding, in terms of our expertise, and then bringing on other people or strategic partners or even people in-house that really have a strong understanding of implementation of that technology. Obviously, the strategy is something that will remain and really align and really organize and architect that technology, but having the people that can really bring in that technology acumen for execution purposes. So that's kind of how I see our business evolving over the next 3 to 6 months. We've already kind of moved into that realm in the first quarter of 2026, and I really see that really exploding for the rest of the year here for us.
Amazing. I love it. It's a conversation that, started a few years ago when AI got introduced, right? Business owners were like, what do we do and how do we do it? And like we were talking about earlier in the conversation, there's so many out there, and how do we choose them? And honestly, now is the time to start investing, start saving some time, invest in these time savers, because they're out there. A lot of them are pretty free right now. They might not be in the future, but just get those things plugged in, and it's pretty mind-blowing what you can do with simple automation tools and how much time you can save internally in your business to help you move forward, whether it be lead nurturing, whether it be just even delivering for a client, whether it be moving projects from your Google Drive into your Airtable, for example. There's so much you can do, and it's kind of mind-blowing, but a lot of us don't put our minds there because we're still focused on, okay, how can we grow the business instead of save some time for the business, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how are you guys taking the steps to achieve those next goals over the next 3 to 6 months, and how does that look for your clients and the potential prospects coming soon?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've kind of been thrust into that because of the asks of our additional client our clients, right? They're asking for, hey, what's the next step, right? What do we, how do we integrate this? What is that, what's that next step for us, right? To really to retain our clients, or to really refine our go-to-market strategy, right? And so, like I said, we've been thrust into that over the last 3 to 6 months, and so it's almost something that we've had on our mind, but we've been kind of forced to accelerate that, right? So what we're doing is bringing in, identifying tech, the tech people here locally in Austin and also abroad, right, that have the technology acumen when it comes to AI and the prompts and syntax and semantic conversations, humanizing a lot of those interactions with with customers. And so we've identified and plucked a couple of people to be able to work with us on a part-time basis or at a variable cost, as we pay them as they're needed, right? So we've been able to identify those solutions and being able to build out programs for those people to be able to be on my team more often, and to also educate, bringing them in to client meetings to be able to talk to our clients from a more technical standpoint. As you might, in some industries, you have the SDRs or the sales development reps, right? They have the technical knowledge, but they also know how to integrate those into the workflow. And so being able to bring them in and communicate to our team internally, but also to clients as needed. And so getting them up to speed as to how our agency communicates and how it all rolls up to a strategy, right? So everyone on my team is able to articulate, hey, what's the strategy, but also from their domain, right? So someone in SEO can speak to the overall strategy, but how SEO plays into that. Someone from the technology team, they can speak to the overall strategy, but they can also talk about, from a technical standpoint, why these integrations are going to be necessary to move closer to our clients or to get them to the point of sale a lot quicker. So that's how I see us growing, is really having more of those people, those subject matter experts when it comes to AI, not just from a understanding, but actually implementation standpoint, and really building up that sort of a team that can really execute and move a lot quicker, can be lean, can be quick, can be efficient in developing content and creative and the technology to be able to give solutions to our clients. And so yeah, that's how I see us. It's really expanding over this next 6 months to the rest of this year.
That's awesome. That's exciting. Having the team to kind of be the end-to-end for your customers, having the experts when you need it, instead of you trying to do the research when you're on like 8 p.m., you're on the laptop. Okay, I got to get this done. I don't know how to do it. But having the experts there is going to save, number one, you a lot of time, being that leader in your business, being that decision maker, and bringing people with you, right? Like if they see you grinding like that and see you putting this team together, and it's going to reflect, right? It's going to reflect. And I think that's so important, is to have a strong team, have people smarter than you in different areas in your business, and surround yourself with that. That's the only way we grow as humans, is to not be the smartest one in the room. And 99% of the time, we're never the smartest one in the room. We just think we are, right? And it's something, and it's valuable. Having a team like that is super valuable. And I think it's going to make a game changer for JWalker in the coming future. But that leads me on to the next question. For young entrepreneurs who want to get started in this agency world, in the marketing world, in a fast-paced, moving, agile world, what's the best piece of advice you could give them to take their first couple steps?
Yeah. I would say, if because I didn't immediately take the leap into the entrepreneurship. I mean, I had the mindset, but what I needed was the experience, right? I needed the experience to really step into that leadership role, right? We all have to have that, not only the education, but you want to have the real world education, and digging in and working with clients. And so, working at an agency, and getting plugged in, understanding the nuances, understanding the industry, communication and conversation around what's happening. What are the processes? What are the best practices? What are some of the tried and true approaches when you're working with clients, right? And then, understand the structure, the financial structure. Understand how to bill a client. Understand, where should clients' dollars be spent? On advertising? Should it be spent in SEO? Should it be spent content creation? Should it be spent in social media? Where, understanding the entire media mix, understanding the channels that are important right now to customers, right? And so getting that body of knowledge is so important. And then being able to say, okay, now I want to take that leap and really understand what sort of client do I want in the first place. Because with my 25 years, I work with so many different clients, from enterprise to, to small to medium sized businesses to small businesses. And I've seen personalities, which is so important, right? The personality of the client is something that can dictate how you function and operate. And so having your own agency, you get to pick and choose who you want to work with, right? You don't have to just take on just because your boss gave you this client, but you get to pick and choose who you want. And so I would say really understand the personality, understand what influences clients, understand the overall the landscape of the world, right? Because politics, all of that, environmental, all those things impact the client's business. And so you have to have that complete 360 understanding about what are the levers that really impact the client's business, right? And so understanding that process and understanding the entire landscape really will allow you to jump easier into an entrepreneurial role, because you'll know how to think, right? Because it's about, you have to think and understand how to communicate to a client, even to win business, right? You have to be able to understand their business. You have to understand, even if you're not an expert at it, you have to be able to communicate about other things, other factors that are going to influence their business, and some of the tried and true tactics and understandings when it comes to brand building, how to apply that and communicate that. So that would be my recommendation, to really jump into the entrepreneurial world and be successful and not sink, right? You want to be able to swim and swim well. And so that would be my recommendation there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to learn before you go knee deep in the water. There's a lot to learn and along that journey. So I think really, really great advice there, Jason. If people wanted to get in contact with JWalker, get in contact with yourself, Jason, what's the best way people can do that? Maybe they can find your website, your LinkedIn page. Where can people find you?
Yeah. Probably the best way is visit our website at JWalkerMarketing.com, the letter J, WalkerMarketing.com. Also on LinkedIn at JWalker1. But yeah, you'll find us there. You'll find all our social handles at our website, and readily available. And I'd love to have the initial conversation if there are people listening right now that you are concerned about where your business is going, or you need to understand, hey, what is the strategy for my business in order for me to achieve a specific goal? Or if you're a founder that has an amazing idea but not sure where to start, you need that personal touch, and you need that person who's going to be with you there at all phases of your business. Give me a call. I'm happy to have a free consultation and discuss how we can make that happen for you. So yeah, that would be the best way to get in touch with me, JWalkerMarketing.com.
Amazing. Jason, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, diving through JWalker, diving through the industry, diving through the just the agency world, the marketing world, and how you guys go about the process to getting your clients the best results possible for their specific business and in their specific situation. I think that's so important, rather than, like you said, being cookie cutter and plugging in a solution that doesn't work and loses that trust gap. Really building relationships, building friendships along your journey with your clients. I think that's very amazing. We don't see enough of it in our industry today. So Jason, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, Korson, for having me, and excited to be here, and looking forward to the future for our business as well as yours, and all the listeners that are out there.
Thank you, Jason.